Hey, what's up? I'm here today with Matt Hart, all the way from London.
Hey, how's it going? Good to see you, Eric. Thank you for having me
Yeah,
on the
you too.
show.
Yeah, no problem. So I do have to ask, is there much of a industrial goth scene in London?
Yes, there is definitely a scene. We have lot of bands come through the city, most of them, to be honest. We still have Slimelight, the club, runs monthly now. Um, Used to be every Saturday, but now monthly. Sometimes Fridays, sometimes Saturdays. So it's yeah, the scene is pretty hot. We have some smaller clubs as well, which is great. Keeps the scene alive. And a lot of time there's after parties of of gigs that happen at a club and that kind of thing. So yeah, the people come together. It's a good scene.
Nice. So how'd you first get into industrial type music?
So in my teens, I was into happy hardcore and drum and bass. And a friend lent me a record, and that was remanufactured by Fear Factory. And it kind of blew my
Okay.
mind at that time. It had it had the hardcore kind of drums of hardcore,
Hmm.
mixed with these guitar riffs and this angry voice. And so I asked him to listen to the original record, understanding that this was a remixed record.
Right.
And Fear Factory Demanufactured still to this day is one of my favorite albums. It inspires a lot of what I've done, including the storyline, and the music and that kind of thing. And I think from there, like that gritty industrial metal that it kind of
Hmm.
was, it could only lead to me discovering more industrial. At that point, I was into new metal as well, and metal more. But um, I then kind of started going out. I got to university, and got my job in London, and I started going out more. And I just, met a lot of people in the bars and clubs, and got introduced to music, and which is where I was first introduced to Slimelight. And listening to bands like Combi Christ and Grendel back in the early 2000s, and that kind of sound. Ministry, even Skinny Puppy was still playing.
Hmm.
Um, and it just kind of went from there. And I love industrial music, and I still listen to metal. So it's definitely kind of, I'm still an industrial ribbit head, but a metalhead at the same time.
I understand. So your description says music in a sci-fi post-apocalyptic icy wasteland. What inspired that kind of concept?
uh
It's
my
definitely an accurate descriptor.
it is quite an accurate descriptor. I think, when I started releasing music, so I've only been releasing music really, no, it's now 7 years. I think
Hmm.
2018 was the first, or 2017 maybe was, some of the first records, the EPs, the Chaos Rising EPs that came out. And I was inspired by just the future and an apocalypse. So it was this rise of machines. It was, um, destroying the earth, burning everything down. It was just what we see from Mad Max movies and what we see from Terminator, that kind of thing. There was no snow at that point, but the story led through the Chaos Rising EPs to Terra 3808, which was the first full length album I released. And
Hmm.
that was the war that happened in 3808, the year of, that kind of, uh, destroyed the world. And the machines basically just iced the planet. I suppose they covered up the sun with clouds, and there's an idea in my head of what did happen, but it's in the history books now.
Hmm.
But yeah, so it froze the world, so the humanity really couldn't survive, with in that cold. So we that's where we kind of went to below the terror.
Okay. There's a decent number of people watching. If at any point anybody has any questions for Matt, throw them in the chat and we'll ask him about it.
Oh yeah, brilliant, cool.
All right. So, Below the Terra Part 2.
Part two.
Did December 31st being the release date, did that have some sort of significance or was it just, end of the year?
I finished the record in The end of May, beginning of June. I
Okay.
got all the mastered tracks back. I got all the artwork back. We printed 100 CDs, the double CD, so Below the Terror Part 1 and 2. And then in June, I went on 5 weeks of, I say 5 weeks of touring. We played 12 shows over 5 weeks out in the US and Canada. And I had to have something new to take, and it was Below the Terror Part 1 and 2 as a double album. So technically I was selling it at shows, at merch, but it was never available online. I hadn't released it through distribution or on Bandcamp or anything. So it was out there in the summer. And it was great to have a lot of people come along, kind of people that have been following me for a few years through my music and through Twitch and my DJing and that kind of thing, and be able to sell the record at the merch table. Why December 31st? Because it was part of the Terra Tour 24. When I got the graphics done, there was always the intention that I would release the record in 2024. Hence, it says on the record, copyright 2024. I felt I could not release it after, and unfortunately we had to move house. We were told when I came back from the tour that I had to move house. So that took up a lot of our time. So the intention was to have released the album online September, October, November, but it just got pushed to the right further and further, just because we didn't have the time to kind of figure out the promotion for it. So 31st of December it was, and we had the time. I had some days off over Christmas, and we put it together and we got it out there. So hence 31st December.
Over on Twitch, Insane Sapphire Star says, what's your most fun song to perform?
I think from Below the Terror Part 1, the track To the Core is it's a fun song. It's got a repetitive chorus of down, 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 down into the core. And I usually play it quite early in the set because it's quite energetic. It gets people going, and it breaks down the barriers between audience and performers. So it's a good song, and I love playing it live. I've done it now for 3 or 4 years, so it's a fun one to do.
How long?
Thanks, Insane Sapphire Star, for the question. Cheers.
Absolutely. So, how long were you working on this album? Like, were you working on part 1 and 2 at the same time, and you just waited longer, or I don't know, just how long were you working on part 2?
I obviously, when I released part 1, I knew that there was going to be a part 2. I hadn't started writing any of the tracks of part 2 before I released part 1. So it was a finished one album. Okay, where are we going now? And I like to write, and I have quite a chaotic mind that needs to be creative. And so music comes out quite easily, quite quickly. So I was already dropping singles from Below the Terror Part 2 quite quickly after the Below the Terror Part 1 album came out. So I think, did I answer your question?
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Okay, so the cover of the album. So where'd that graphic come from? Who made that?
So I use a graphic designer called Vlad McNeely, Callisti Design. He works with a lot of artists in the industrial scene, and works with some festivals as well. So his artwork is actually on a lot of stuff that maybe maybe people don't even know, but he's behind a lot of it. And he's been my graphic designer since Chaos Rising Part 1. And I love what he does. And he just kind of takes an idea that I have and he just rolls with it. And I don't give him too many full directions, or like, this is how it has to be. I just here, do something, what I've been doing over the last few years. So go with it. And I like the idea that Below the Terra Part 1 is a single soldier, and it's still outside because that's, you know, the humanity's trying to still survive in this cold, icy wasteland. But the door is in the background, and then Part 2 is within the deep down city, which has become one of the songs on Below the Terra Part 2. But it's within the city that humanity has kind of created below the Terra. So yeah, he's been great, and just designing stuff and just lays it out is great.
How's feedback been on this album?
It's been really good. To be able to have had it out for 6 months before releasing it, and people have said, "Oh yeah, no, I really like the album. I love listening through it all and that kind of thing." And releasing 4 singles, I think we did off it before it came out. Rotations, Deep Down City, Black Abyss, and oh, hang on a second. I have it here. Rotations, Terraform, that was the other one. It's only a 9-track album, but releasing 4 tracks I think is value for money for people buying an album if they've already got the singles or that kind of thing. And it seems like a good number to me. The reception has been really good, and from the singles that then I do them live, and people often say like, "Oh, you know, I love the tracks on record, but just live they come alive." So the reception has been really good, and we've sold some. This is the double album. So we sold quite a lot of the double album when it released in December as well, which is quite cool online, even though a lot of people, we'd sold out of 100 double albums on the tour or over 2024, which is really cool. So they're now, we had to get another 100, and that's what's online. So
cool.
Pretty good.
So I saw there was a few different, I think there's 3 music videos off this album.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's the story behind that, like, really simplistic, interesting one for Rotation? You know, the other ones are very like big production, and that one's very, I don't know, just minimalistic.
Yeah. So I have to give the credit to my wife for that one. She put together all the slides in 16:9 format, and is it a music video? Technically, it's a music video. Technically, it's also just a backing video to my live show. So when I'm doing the show, it counts along in the background to, and rather having a music video playing in the background, it's just fucking tons of slides. But everything on the slide is quite. I mean, I gave us some kind of some direction to go with it. But if you were to pause the video at certain points, like there are kind of words and characters and design that is related to everything around the world that I've created. So it's kind of, I like Easter eggs in movies and that kind of thing, and on DVDs and that kind of thing. So all my artwork, including like this is my own design. There's always little bits of extra kind of either extra information or like, oh, there's like, it mentions that there, but that's part of, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I like that too. Some graphics I've used, some of I haven't. So, yeah.
So, I thought it was neat. It was just, very simplistic, but it was also like complicated and just had a lot packed into it.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought it was cool.
And it just flies by, and it's kind of like lots of information, but it's seeing it live on stage. Like when I've seen videos of myself doing it and it's flashing around in the background, I was like, yeah, that's pretty effective. I like it.
All right. This one's a little bit weird, but I ask everybody this question. If you were ice cream, what flavor would you be?
I mulled over this question because is it about ice cream that I like, that I would want to be, or is it like a design of ice cream that I feel that I am, in which the question is, I love like really dark, bitter, dark chocolate. I love black coffee. But I love, I think that bitterness is my flavor palette. So I love dark chocolate, and I think we were away in Europe somewhere. It might have been somewhere like Prague, and we we came across this like black, real like carbon black dark chocolate ice cream, and it was delicious. It was very bitter, but it was really, really good. Would I say I'm bitter? No, I'm not bitter. Am I, my music is dark, so yes, the music kind of comes together in a dark chocolate. But then, then I think, well, I love vanilla ice cream, just plain. Sometimes you just gotta have the plainest vanilla ice cream. Am I vanilla? No, I'm a little spicier than that. So I couldn't really answer the question, but I've given you an insight in what kind of ice cream I like, I guess.
Okay.
What ice cream am I? I don't know. I bet a lot of people say, "Oh, Neapolitan," because it's lots of different colors and it's a bit of this and a bit of that. I don't know. I couldn't genuinely tell you what kind of ice cream I am, but I definitely like dark black, bitter black chocolate.
Insane Sapphire Star says you would not be peanut butter.
No, 100%. I would not be peanut butter. I have a thing against peanut butter, so no peanut butter, thank you. Oh dear.
All right. Do you have any shows coming up?
I do. We're sticking to the UK at the moment. We've got a show in Wales, in Swansea, on the 1st of March. We've got a show up in Whitby on the end of April. And unannounced yet is a show that we have on, I think it's the 27th of December of September in Glasgow. So we're playing Wales, England, and Scotland. Yet to get to Ireland, but then we probably will be crossing some form of water again this time this year. So possibly not as big as the pond between us here right now, but certainly some small bodies of water we will cross to play some shows. So.
All right, people in the comments, once again, if you have any questions, throw them out here. So where can people listen to your music and follow you online?
Sure. The obvious one is Matt Hart, MATTHART.bandcamp.com. The best place to support artists and music, especially in our small subgenre of industrial and dark electro and that kind of thing, where we are all small artists who have real jobs, and we do music for the love of it, and hopefully to be able to inspire people and get people to shows and just play good shows and stuff. So Bandcamp, yes, that's probably the best place. But you can also find me on all the streaming channels. Just search Matt Hart. There's a couple of other Matt Harts, I believe, and weirdly some of them log in when you're searching for my stuff. But yeah, it's all over Spotify and Apple Music and all that kind of thing. Social media, I'm Matt Hart 3808 on Instagram and TikTok. And if you directly want to search me, you can find DJ Matt Hart UK on Facebook, but you should be able to search Matt Hart and it will come up as this Matt Hart says right there in capitals. If you see my name in capitals, it's my band page or DJ page. If you see it in small, it's probably my personal page. So I don't mind which you add or friend or whatever, but yes. So that's where you'll find me. I'm also on Blue Sky, Matt Hart 3808 over there as well, which is a fun, interesting platform where people just keep adding me, as keep following me, which is great. So it seems to be a good platform, other than that old Exy thing. So it's cool.
Yep. Narcosis 2112 says, "What has been your favorite show that you've played, festival or otherwise?"
Hi, Dan. Good to see you here. Thanks for stopping by. What has been my best show? This summer, I played Infest Festival here in the UK. It's one of the longest running industrial EBM noise festivals here in the UK. That was awesome. It was in a really fancy hall in Bradford. It was a great show. Was it one of my favorite shows? I thought the audience were great and the venue was great. I had some had some video issues running up to the show where I couldn't actually play the backing video, and I think that my show relies part of the show is the backing video, just because it kind of helps to bring the story together, I suppose. But we started the US tour in Seattle at Mechanismus Festival, and we played a venue there called El Corazon, and it was awesome. It was so good to be in front of a completely different audience. Literally no one I knew. There were friends and you know, bands that I'd become acquainted with over the years now. But it was great to just play the show in front of a bunch of people I didn't know. And weirdly, I didn't have my regular guitarist with me. But it was very good that he was able to join me from Chicago onwards for the last 2 weeks of the tour, which is cool. So it's, yeah, I think that those two shows as part of the Terra Tour 24 last year were probably my favorite shows. But you know, every live show has its merits. It's crazy how when you play, I mean, I think I played 24 shows in 2024, which is probably double I've ever played before. So I think you get a little blasé about playing that many shows. I mean, I can imagine bands going on tour where they play 30, 40 dates in a row, where it just becomes the monotony. I'm in another city, I'm playing another show. But when you don't play that many shows, each one is special. And sometimes it comes down to who you're playing with and the other bands you're supporting or are playing on the bill. You know, it's just, yeah, it's fun playing shows and playing live music. Just, you know, you people out there, keep supporting live music. You know you do.
Over in the comments, this person says, even without the video, the MATT heads helped. That they were at in Fest. It was an awesome show.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Yeah. What do you want to say to anybody who watches this?
What can I say that hasn't been said? Just keep supporting live music. If you're musical, do some music. Get out there and do it. You know, I was inspired by JD from Grendel to just release music. Back in 2017, we were hanging out in a pub, and he said, "Just do it. Just release it. You know, there's what harm can come from it." And I've grown and I've learned from that, and I got off my ass and I started releasing music. And I'd say anyone that's in that same position where they think they have a product, you know, get it out there. And you know, people come together to support you and help you as well. You know, there's 100%. I haven't got this far without the support of the people around me and people who've inspired me, or the people who've, you know, helped me out in whether that's graphic design or mastering or even mixing over the years, or even production. You know, it's good to have the support of the people around you, but equally that, you know, the fans, the people that go to shows, keep going to shows. Keep supporting music. If you feel you can buy the music, do it. Bandcamp is the place to go. But listen to it. You know, I sadly, I think Spotify is a necessary evil. I think a lot of promoters and festivals, especially, they look at Spotify numbers, and it's an algorithm that counts to them. And you know, if you don't have 10,000 plays of a song, or you know, you don't have 7,000 listeners, it's almost like, well, you're bumped down, but you've been working your ass off, and you may have sold a lot more albums than Bandcamp and that kind of thing. So it's, you know, it's a double-edged sword, but you got to embrace everything that's out there, and that includes kind of embracing the social media, everything as well. So keep supporting.
Over in the comments, Outlaw Vision on Mondays has a great community. Come enjoy your DJing and shit talk.
That is absolutely right. I thank you for the reminder to share that. Yes, I'm on Twitch, MATT HART 3808, surprisingly enough, on a Monday at 9 p.m. UK time, and it's usually an hour and a half to a 2-hour show, and I DJ the latest music that lands in my inbox. including my own music. Sometimes I drop unreleased stuff in there as well, and it's fun. You know, I obviously like to talk a bit, as you may have noticed, Eric. I can wander off on tangents,
Ain't
and that
nothing
comes
wrong with that.
exactly. So yeah, I wander off into shit talk on Outlaw Vision as well. So it's a fun show. Come along and check it out.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on here. It was definitely fun.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Eric. It's been a pleasure and nice to kind of share some words with the world and everyone on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook Live or wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in and listening, and maybe you've watched this on repeat or you've watched it in retrospect. So thank you for checking it out in a past form.
Yeah. All right. If you want to hang out off the air, you're welcome to. If not, yeah, thank you.
Cool. All right. Cheers, Eric. Thank you. See you later.